The votes are agreed to. Members, we now come to the votes in the Social Development and Housing Sector, Volume B5, Volume 10. And the question is that vote Building and Housing and vote Social Development stand part of the schedules. I call Alfred Naro.
Mr Chair, I rise as the Chair of the Social Service Select Committee to take the first call on this estimates reading. And the Social Services Committee recommends the appropriations for the year ending 30th of June 2016 for vote social development to be accepted. Mr Chair, it's an honour to be able to speak tonight on this. And Mr Chair, the budget for 2015 delivers $790 million package to help children living in some of New Zealand's poorest families. It's a commitment that was made by the Prime Minister, and he clearly made in his State of the Nation speech that we are firmly focused on helping those children who through no fault of their own have been caught in the cycle of hardship. And so, Mr Chair, as the Prime Minister has set that vision, I also too want to acknowledge that the Minister, the Honourable Anne Tolley, also too has taken on that role to ensure that we deliver that package, that vision as well. But Mr Chair, one of the things that often that we think that what is the key areas of concern, but also to the judgment from those in the sector who provide the service, and I know that my colleague Mr Matt Ducey will be reading from the State of the Nation booklet called A Mountain All Can Climb. But before he does that, I too want to sort of comment from that. And in February of this year, this was a report that actually talked about, and often it's a State of the Nation speech that judges the performance of the government in regards to the social sector. They have 22 indicators in which they judge the government by its performance. Mr Chair, I'm happy to say that 14 out of the 22 had the thumbs up. And out of those social indicators of change during 2014, which gives us a lead that a good foundation for us to build on. Just a couple of those to mention is child poverty, for instance. Percentage of children living in benefit-dependent households has reduced by 2% to 17%. Now we know it's a small change, but it's a significant change. It's moving in the right direction. We talk about children at risk. It's a reduction of 15% down to 19,623. And so again, a small change, but the number of substantiated cases of child abuse and neglect has also reduced. Educational achievement has increased by 0.2%. So, Mr Speaker, these are key indicators, social indicators that are making a change. And if Mr Derek Ball was there and he might have read this, he might have seen that 14 out of the 22 indicators have shown that this government is heading in the right direction. So let's then look at the budget of 2015 and what it's delivering for us and for New Zealand as well. So we know that Budget 2015 delivers a $790 million package to help children and living in some of the New Zealand's poorest families. We know employment is the best way to lift families out of difficulty and hardship, and the incentive to work will ensure that children who are living in poverty are supported. This is focused on helping 60 to 100,000 children who, through no fault of their own, experience material hardship. There have been widespread reform throughout the welfare system over recent years aimed at increasing independence where possible. This is working well with 42,000 fewer children living in welfare-dependent homes since this time 3 years ago. Mr Chair, I think that's a significant number. 42,000 children in 3 years are now actually in situations where they can thrive and their outcomes can be improved. This budget announcements continue National's plan to deliver better services to vulnerable children and New Zealanders who rely on them, and to deliver better value for money and for taxpayers. Inside of that package, Mr Chair, I want to talk about a couple of things that I think are quite important. One of the ones that was significant in 2015, which I know that was celebrated, even on the other side, I know there was acknowledgement for the fact is, under this government, a national government, the benefit rates for families with children will rise by $25 a week after tax. The first increase other than inflation adjustments for 43 years. 43 years. I don't think you were even alive in 1991, Mr Derek Ball. The first increase other than inflation adjustments for 43 years, and there will be extra support for low-income working families despite Labor voting against both these measures. Mr Chair, that's significant, because even when there was a time of surplus under the previous government, there was no increase. But under this government, there is an increase. Now, some speculators on the other side said, what will $25 do? What will $25 do? So, Mr. Chair, Q&A went up to the far north and some of the most deprived nations, communities up there, and our Māori communities up there, and the question that was asked to Dr. Lance O'Sullivan was this: will this budget of $25 extra per family that's eligible make a difference, Mr. Speaker?
I call Carmel Sepuloni.